Hey, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of 2026. Happy New Year. And as you can tell, my guest is not the guest that I promoted. Chef Thomas Borowitz unfortunately had a family medical emergency today. And so I am utterly grateful to my members of La Dames d'Escoffier for jumping in and finding me a guest, and Chef Fran Costigan is a friend. She's actually, I think it's been like 4 years since you were on the show. So it's about
I think
time
so. Yes.
that I'm so glad that we reconnected to this, and we were just talking about how I'm going to see her in Philly in a few days. Chef Fran is an internationally recognized as an authority on vegan desserts, and I will give you her website later to look at. She's professionally trained pastry chef, a cookbook author, a consultant, a culinary instructor, and she's the director of vegan pastry at, is it Robu? Did I say that right?
Ruby, like
Ruby.
Rue and
Ruby.
Rue,
Okay, Ruby.
Ruby.
That's easy. Okay. And which is the world's leading online culinary school. And when you look at pictures of her desserts, they are delicious. They look fantastic, but they're free of eggs, dairy, white sugar, cholesterol. So they should be good for us, right? So, Fran, I'm so excited to have you here again. And thank you so much for stepping in at the last minute to talk to me.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. It's my pleasure. I'm delighted to have been able to just juggle a little. I'll go to the gym a little later,
That is what I'm going
but
to
I
do
love
later
to
too.
talk to you. Okay. You gotta keep it moving.
Yes,
Gotta
ma'am.
keep it moving. And absolutely. So I'm happy to see you on Zoom, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Philly, and we'll get together in person to eat some of Philadelphia has amazing restaurants that I think for the most part are quite aware. And, I moved here from New York, and I think Philly has an equal or even better food scene at this point for me. Hardly any place that I go doesn't speak vegan to some degree, which is really fabulous.
Well, and I think we're getting more and more of it, but I still think that there are some things to tackle. And actually, let's just start with that one thing I want to tackle. I mean, you've talked about and you've trained, online and in person, people who are not vegan, how to make vegan pastries. So why do traditional hotel pastry kitchens not get this? And why is it so hard for them to provide vegan pastries or even dairy, vegan pastries, but even dairy-free pastries?
That is the $1,000,000 question. It doesn't make any sense to me, because whenever, I have done some work in hotels or at big conferences. For example, I presented a demo at the ACF convention, national convention, maybe 2 years ago. It was a hotel kitchen. We did the prep and made my chocolate cake to live for. That's what it's called. And the kitchen is, wherever I am in an environment, like, then the staff says, "Oh my God, that was so easy and that's so delicious." And I don't use I made it my business. I made it a point for myself when I was transitioning from what used to be the traditional kitchen, butter, sugar, egg kitchen. That was my pastry work, to creating a modern vegan kitchen. I didn't want to use any hard to source ingredients, and I wanted to keep ingredients as real as possible and quality. So my flours should be familiar to any pastry kitchen. I use organic AP, and I use whole wheat pastry flour and sometimes some spelt, and I know how to do things with gluten-free flours. I use real cocoa powder,
Okay.
a quality high percentage. Today we have a plethora of plant milks that work for everyone. And while I am not soy averse, in fact, I eat soy on a regular basis, and I have for over 35 years, and I feel great. It's not a problem for me. I'm not allergic to nuts, but many people are. And I want to include as many people as possible. I'm talking about non-plant eaters as well.
Mhm.
So that means making something that's delicious. I use oat milk, and it's rich. It has enough protein. It's wonderful. Sugar, soup. I feel that I have an opportunity with my platform because I have students all over the world, and many are professional chefs, to talk about organic regenerative
Mhm.
and GMO products. So we can get all these sweeteners now without a problem at all. So why they aren't doing it, I keep going in there, it's easier.
Mhm.
And instead of thinking about, I'm going to do a traditional dessert and a plant-based dessert
Mhm.
that is free of nuts and free of soy and free of many of the allergens.
Mhm.
Why not just do one fabulous dessert for
Right.
everyone?
Yeah. Exactly.
They make it so hard. For me, the example has always been lentil soup. People know lentil soup. We
Mhm.
want foods that are familiar to people,
Mhm.
right? I mean, a chocolate cake is familiar. Chocolate pudding is familiar. So is lentil soup. Well, leave the chicken stock out of the lentil soup and make it with vegetable broth. Now you don't have to make lentil soup for vegans
Right.
and lentil soup for everyone else.
It saves
You
money and it
know,
saves time
it saves
and
money
saves your headache.
and it saves your headache. When I go to an event, I'm plant-based, but I don't have other allergies, so
Mhm.
I don't have to worry as much. But I want to see things labeled.
Mhm.
I want to see real ingredients. And, I think I was talking to you earlier. This is some soup that I made for myself for a couple of days. I happen to love squash soup this time of the year. I roasted a head. I've had it in my fridge. And this morning I thought, I've been eating more sweets than usual. I'm going to more parties than usual. Let me have some squash soup in the fridge. I had homemade vegetable stock
Mhm.
from scraps.
Yep.
I threw it in my Vitamix, and I added some spices that I like, and I use non-irradiated, sustainable spices. I prefer burlap and barrel. And I had soup in
Wow.
5 minutes.
That's amazing. So you just made the soup in the Vitamix and then you heated it up? Or you heated
I
it up
heated it up
in the Vitamix?
In the Vitamix. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even grab a pot. So
That's awesome.
I'm ready. I'm
Right.
ready. And my breakfast this morning was, I happen to like soy yogurt,
Mhm.
and some of the ones that you can buy in the supermarket are very nice, but I just found a way of using a box of organic soy milk that doesn't have any gums or anything else in it,
Mhm.
organic soybeans and water, some probiotic tablets, one for each cup of soy milk. So it's four for the quart.
Mhm.
And I mix it up right in the container. I mean, I'm not a lazy cook, believe me, but when I can save steps, I do. And then I put it in my Instant Pot for 10 hours overnight, and I have soy yogurt.
Oh,
It's
wow.
wonderful.
That's
It's
amazing.
wonderful.
Again, that's saving you
It's
money.
very,
Yeah.
it saves a lot of money, and there's lots of protein.
Mhm.
And then, I can add whatever I want to it, my own blueberries and flax and chia. And
Mhm.
so, and my granddaughter was here last week, and she loved it. She just loved, we want to make food that tastes good.
Mhm. Right.
There's no point if it doesn't taste good, and serve reasonable portions, and then we're good to go.
R
My behind me, I have a king cake that I made
Mhm.
that was a test, not the one that I brought to the party last night. So there was the traditional one and there was mine. But oftentimes there's just mine because people in my sphere have come to learn that my desserts are delicious. They don't, what does vegan taste like,
Mhm. Right, exactly.
If it's
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, if it's still it's like if Mikey likes it, right? Or let's see if Mikey likes it. Okay, I want to jump back to one thing that you said because you were a traditional pastry chef. So can you, and I know we
Yes,
talked about this probably 4 years ago, but can you remind listeners why you switched?
absolutely. I'd be happy to. Um, I had stomach aches my entire life. I remember being from a very young age, just always having what I would call old fashioned stomach aches. And I got used to them, not used to them insofar as enjoying them, but just became a part of my life and was never figured out. No
Mhm.
doctor ever said, oh, you are whatever. And then I was working my I was working in a traditional pastry shop on the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
Mhm.
That was my first job out of culinary school. And I went to culinary school at a very advanced age. My kids were already in junior high, but that's another story. And my digestive upsets just got worse. And my allergies got felt awful. And I did not want to give this job up because to me, this was my dream job. I just loved it. I loved the action. I had eggs on the counter. I had heavy cream. I had gallons of white sugar, but I had to actually leave. That's how
Oh,
much
wow.
discomfort I was experiencing. And so I started doing some other work. I wasn't feeling happy about it. And, they say when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. I went to buy a beach read kind of book. I was in doing some other work. And I was in Palm Desert
Mhm.
and I picked up a book called Food and Healing by Dr. Anne Marie Colvin, who was the founder of the Natural Gourmet
Oh,
Cookery School
yeah.
in New York City. And I thought, isn't that odd? I am in New York and I don't know about this school. Um, and her idea that what you ate impacted how you felt just made common sense to me. And I
Mhm.
kind of scanned the book and I went, oh, I bet I'm lactose intolerant, which I am, which, oh, I mean, you probably know the hard number, but certainly over 80% of people, of adults are,
Mhm.
or children are lactose intolerant today. So my intention was to give up dairy. And I never could really stomach it. I never liked drinking milk. My mother gave me ice cream for breakfast because I'm sure the pediatrician said, get milk into that kid. Very clever, right?
Uh-huh.
set me up for a lifetime of sweets. And so without really thinking about it, I gave up all animal foods. I went to the Natural Gourmet. I took food and healing uh, course that was a few months long, and it just made sense to me. But the most important thing is within days, certainly less than a week, I my stomach aches went away, my allergies
Wow.
cleared up, my weight stabilized. I was just in a better mood. And I know that there are many people, well, my chef friends were saying, well, you can't be a chef anymore. You can't taste this and that and other. I felt that my culinary choices expanded rather than contracted. There
I
were
love
so
that. Yeah.
many more foods for me to try that I had been ignoring. So that's really what happened. I never looked back. And then for a short time, I shunned all sweets
Mhm.
because I thought that's not good. And then my son, who was about 14 or 15 at the time, said, Mom, you're not putting a candle in a sweet potato and telling me that's my birthday cake.
That's
True
awesome.
enough. So I went what was available in terms of baked goods. And at that time, we're going back 35 years. Brown, dry and sticky, gummy, no recipes that made any sense. And I just decided I was going to work with what was available in the day, which was not what's available today,
Mhm.
to create desserts that were delicious and just happened to be plant based. So, plant based, that means, no dairy, no eggs, no white sugar, no cholesterol, and they're parve as well. They're for everyone.
Okay, so tell everybody about the white sugar.
So refined white sugar, or what you see in the
Mhm.
supermarket, table sugar, it's called, is the only food substance that I am aware of that is refined to like 99%. It's the only edible food substance that we put in our mouths that doesn't have to go through digestion. Digestion starts in your mouth with saliva.
Mhm.
It just hits. It just hits. And so it's actually worse than it's your pancreas goes crazy.
Mhm.
It's really unhealthful. It spikes everything. And for people who are vegan, ethical vegans, it's this sugar cane is processed through bone char
Mhm.
and bleached, and neither of those processes are okay for many people. Now, beet sugar was the sugar of choice for vegans for many years
Mhm.
because it is not processed through bone char. However, beet sugar in this country is a highly genetically modified crop.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it kind of fell out of fashion. But today, we have all these organic cane sugar. This is one brand that I think
Wholesome.
is quite
Okay.
reliable, wholesome. And now they're doing regenerative as well. Um, so you use it 1 for 1 for white sugar.
Mhm.
And anyone who is baking or doing desserts knows that old-fashioned desserts were very sweet. I cut the sugar somewhat, but my first boss in a vegan restaurant said, I took all the sugar out of the brownies. And he's like, Costigan, we're making brownies, not brown bread. Put the sugar back in. Right. I mean, these are true. But of course, sugar has
Right.
that matter to a dessert. Um, so there a small percentage, you can't really see it here, a
Mhm.
small percentage of the molasses that is inherent in the cane
Mhm.
remains in this organic sweetener. And by the way, organic and vegan sugar are one and the same, and oftentimes they are ethical as well. So the crystal can be, depending on the brand, very fine
Mhm.
or a bit more coarse. The color can be super, super, very, very light brown or beige,
Right.
a little bit darker. But no matter what, the crystal is always larger than a white sugar crystal. So what I do is very simple. You see all those containers behind me.
Yep.
I lightly grind the sugar in a food processor. I don't grind it to powder.
Mhm.
Well, I do that too, but for most of my desserts, I lightly grind it in a food processor and then I store it until it's needed. I can do powder, like a castor sugar
Uh-huh.
as well. And we have coconut sugar that we like to use, also sucanat or whole
Okay.
sugar cane. Natural, it's got all different names, is the sugar cane without the molasses extracted. So it's a very nice sweetener. I use that sometimes instead of brown sugar. So
Okay.
we have all those choices in granulated sweeteners, and then there are liquid sweeteners as well.
Wow. Okay.
But all of this is readily available
Mhm.
to all chefs, to restaurant chefs. They come in, big quantities for people to use.
Yeah. So just talking about those chefs again, what was the ones that have taken your class, what is their biggest aha moment? Like when you're teaching them about turning vegan, making vegan pastries?
They just can't get over how good things taste. They're like, oh my God, that was so easy. And I have these ingredients. I mean, maybe going out to find some agar, which
Mhm.
is the vegetable that's derived from seaweed.
Mhm.
But it's a gelling agent that has been used for millennia in Asian cuisine. So it's not something that's made up and it's not highly processed. That is a substitute for gelatin.
Mhm.
It's actually easier to use if you understand. In terms of the giant wow factor, has been my chocolate cake, which is a 2-bowl cake with no apparent egg replacer. That's
Mhm.
something that we can talk about as
Yep.
well. And I went back to like, well, what did they do during the war when there weren't eggs available? They used chemical leaveners, baking powder, baking soda, and vinegar. Boom, you have a nice cake. It's amazing.
Interesting.
But aquafaba, which
Mhm.
is the liquid from cooked chickpeas,
Right.
when my students do their baked Alaska assignment, they just go crazy. Everyone goes crazy. I teach that at Rancho Lepre at the spa. And again, I have vegans in my class and plant curious, but I have many traditional homemakers
Mhm.
and professional chefs who are coming to understand that if you don't offer a delicious vegan dessert, and we're not talking about sorbet is delicious, but it's not enough.
No,
That's
it's
like I
not.
go out, I don't want pasta with vegetables. I
Mhm.
want a meal. That it's just so doable and so easy and economical.
Mhm.
But you have to follow the same rules. You don't throw out measuring, weighing ingredients, buying quality ingredients, learning the basics, the foundational technique for making any dessert is included in my Essential Vegan Desserts course because we are making desserts.
Right. Well, and one of the things that I was looking at, Loopy Whisk, who's cook my computer's falling off the
Yes,
screen, off my stand. Um, and another gluten-free chef, pastry chef that I just found as well, and the importance of measuring because it's different densities of flours. And so it's not like measuring cup, but weighing it.
it's so important.
Okay.
It's so important. I have this. This is a small, I think it's called a jeweler's scale
Okay.
for small ingredients. Now, because my students are international, people are using different flours.
Hmm.
I spoke about this yesterday at my live event for my Essential Vegan Desserts course at Ruby. I wanted to go back and really let's review. I love doing for myself. There's always something new to learn in
Hmm.
culinary, and I love that. But review is good. Now, if I were in a school or if I were right here and I were using King Arthur flour and everyone was using King Arthur flour, 1 cup weighs 120 grams.
Okay.
Bob's Red Mill Organic AP weighs 136. Bob's,
Interesting.
the whole list.
Hmm.
American, ATK, Rose, everyone you can think of has a slightly different. Some are slightly different, and some are very different. Um, Bob's what is it? King Arthur.
Hmm.
Every bag of flour you get, you look at it and it says 11.7% protein. That's important to know for the gluten
Okay.
property. Bob's Red Mill, and I'm a fan of Bob's, believe me. They say between 10 and 12, depends on the batch. These
Ah.
are things that are important. So, because I have people all over the country and all over the world who are using different flours,
Hmm.
I suggest, the recipes say 1 cup. Whisk your dry ingredients first because they settle. So, just
Hmm.
whisk before you measure. My way of measuring is to overfill the cup and without pressing
Yep.
down, just take a flat knife and write down, check it twice and write down what that weighed and keep a notebook.
Okay.
Because I remember when I was writing vegan chocolate and I wanted gram weight in there, I was looking at French Culinary Institute and, everybody had their own weight charts.
Right.
I think King Arthur's is very good. They're good for a start, but you really need your own and you really need to weigh. And it's actually easier because you just keep zero. So here's your mixing bowl, you keep zeroing it out,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
go, here's the flour, here's the whole wheat pastry flour, here's the sugar, and everything goes in the bowl. And there you
Right.
have it.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do. I've got it on there, but I have to tell you that I am, because I am gluten free, and I have succumbed, if you want to say that word, because I always make a cherry pie for Christmas, and I always make it from scratch. But I am using the King Arthur gluten free boxed recipe. It comes in a box, and I love it.
The pie crust
The
pie
pie
crust
crusts.
mix? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I actually
I'm all
have
for that.
I have actually now I'm doing my mom actually made her pecan pie and her pumpkin pie this year using that as well. And what I did, because it comes out with two crusts, but for me, for my cherry pie, mine's a fully covered cherry pie. I am taking 2 boxes of the thing and making it. So I'm getting, because I'm adding a little bit more. I want a little bit more pastry on my cherry pie.
Yeah.
And so I'm like taking a quarter more of that and then just making my mom pie crusts, single pie crusts from that. But that's what I've been using. I'm cheating in a way, but it's simple.
Well, I don't think that's cheating. I
Okay.
think that's practical.
Okay.
I really do. Now, my gluten-free all-purpose flour mix of
Mhm.
choice is the Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1.
Mhm.
Comes in the blue bag, and it's complete. There's some xanthan in it.
Mhm.
I know I'm hearing more and more and more from people about the problems they're having with gums.
Mhm.
Um, but there's a small amount in there, and for certain gluten-free, I, I I would be surprised if the boxed pie crust mix doesn't have something like xanthan or guar in it.
It probably does. I could run down and get
Yeah,
it, but yeah.
but
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
it's a very
Right.
small amount, and you're not eating pie every single meal,
Right.
every single day.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I don't like when I see in a recipe or a book,
Mhm.
whether, I mean, I caution people about just, well, they say, that didn't work for me. Well, where'd you get the recipe? Well, I found it
Yeah.
out there. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Let's stick with reliable recipe writers and chefs. But I don't necessarily think if I'm doing a cake that uses 50% all purpose flour and 50% whole wheat pastry flour, which is my choice of flour mix.
Mhm.
I think the whole wheat pastry flour adds some flavor and some nutrition,
Right.
although I don't desserts as necessarily, a cake as you're going to get your nutrition,
Right.
but less harmful for sure. Um, I don't think that I see all the time use that or equivalent amount of gluten-free flour mixes. I don't think that works. They behave differently.
Mhm.
They suck up liquid
Mhm.
differently. The temperature is different, but it's certainly doable. I mean, one of my favorite recipes, and again, I'm not gluten free, but I'm very aware of that for people. One of my favorite recipes is a gluten free brownie that stays fudgy. There's prune puree in it,
Oh,
which really keeps them fudgy. Prune puree was used a lot in French bakery items.
interesting.
So it's
Yeah.
not really making things up.
Mhm.
We're looking at, I think, traditional ways of doing things
Mhm.
and doing them differently.
Right.
You know, there are so many desserts that are naturally gluten free.
Mhm.
A chocolate truffle, for
Mhm.
example, made with oat milk and a high percentage of a certified gluten free chocolate
Mhm.
is gluten free
Yeah.
and quite delicious. One of my favorite truffles is made with tahini. It's fabulous, but I know that sesame seeds are a highly allergic food.
Mhm.
So I'm careful about them. And I think, labeling and keeping items separate is critical.
It really, really is, and in well, yesterday I was it yesterday I posted a picture from um, a cafeteria I was in, and the menu digital menu board said chicken quesadilla and then cheese quesadilla, and it said contains wheat and dairy, and then it came down to the bottom, it said nachos, but it didn't have any allergen kind of labeling, and it gave you, lettuce, beef, chicken, whatever. Beef was spelled B, or no, meat was spelled MEET.
Oh
um
my
I
goodness.
know. um I did tell them, I'm like, you need to fix that. But
Yeah.
I was asking, I'm like, there's no labels on that? And the guy's like, well, hey, the spice probably is not gluten free. And I'm like, okay, tell me about that. And he pulled out the Lowry's taco seasoning mix and brought
Oh,
it to me, and right smack in the middle is wheat flour in it. So I'm glad that I've asked, and I'm glad that he took the wherewithal to show that to me. But that is a hidden ingredient, and you were just talking about the labeling, and it's like, it's so important, not just for me as a person that's gluten free, but also as somebody, who's vegan or who is kosher, right? Understanding what those ingredients
right,
are is imperative. And I'm like, I don't want your recipe, I just want to know if it's going
right,
to hurt me. Yeah.
right. And again, I think the work you're doing is so tremendously important, and thank you for that. I don't have allergies other than not wanting to have dairy
Hmm.
or animal products, but I read labels all the time. I am amazed by what you find on a label,
Hmm.
and hopefully they're all disclosed. Now, people used to say to me, what makes chocolate vegan? And way back when, I thought that was a silly question. Then we know there are no silly questions. But I was like, well, if it doesn't have dairy in it, it's vegan. No, we want the sugar to be vegan. But today, I have found milk powder listed
Really?
on labels of chocolate bars. And as chocolate becomes more and more expensive, and I'm sure that you are reading about the like chocolate flavored chocolate,
Hmm.
you're going to see more milk powder in chocolate. So you need to know who your purveyors are. You need to read labels. You need to understand what's going on and
Well, even those,
support.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It-
No, I was going to say support those companies
Right.
that are being transparent.
Well, and yesterday we were staying in a hotel, and I made my mom some coffee, and she doesn't use creamer, but it made me look. It says dairy-free creamer. Some of those dairy-free creamers are not dairy-free because of milk powder or something like that. I'm
Right.
like,
Isn't
why do
that
you call it
crazy?
that? Yeah.
I know. What it's crazy. And they have so many ingredients in that little bitty thing.
Right, exactly. Okay,
Right.
so we've it's veganary, so I'm glad we're having this conversation. So how, but it's also dry January, and
Yes.
we were chatting before we got online that you have, I mean, I'm dry. I've been dry 7 years now. Um
Oh.
and but you're towing in it, I guess you could say, right? Can you let's talk about dry January from a perspective of being vegan as well. Is there a way to do that? Is there consideration in that, or is, just dry January? Why are you choosing to do that?
Yeah. Well, in terms of wines, there are companies doing vegan wines now.
Hmm.
And and it's a very, it's an interesting process. I visited one of the wineries in Italy and the wine was delicious. This was a number of years ago. I have found over time that while I do enjoy a glass of wine with if I'm out at a special dinner or event,
Right.
that I wasn't feeling great after. I think my metabolism is changing as I'm older. Something has changed. And because I don't really eat junk food, I'm not pure. Every
Mhm.
once in a while I'll have a nice vegan burger, or I love the French fries at Goldie's in Philadelphia, Mike Solomonov's restaurant. But for the most part, I noticed that once I cut the junk out of my diet, I'm sensitive to how I feel after eating or drinking
Mhm.
particular items. And I consistently was not feeling my best after drinking. So I just naturally stopped doing it. And I'm very lucky to lead a pretty social life with Les Dames d'Escoffier and restaurants and so on. I realized that what I was missing were the flavors that I liked. I like bitters.
Okay.
I think that has something to do with the fact that I'm tasting so many sweets. When I'm testing a recipe, I can make something 4 times, as I did with this king cake.
Mm-hmm.
I had never had one, I had never seen one. And so I kept testing and I kept eating. Oh, that's good. Well, let's see how long it takes till it's stale. Oh, that's good. That adds up. So I love broccoli rabe. I like bitter vegetables and I like bitter drinks. And one of the drinks that I really thought I would miss, since I have cut down and decided that for January I'm going to cut it out completely, was Campari. And then I found this wonderful, I think this is made by San Pellegrino, and
Okay.
it's called San Bitter.
Oh.
San Bitter.
Uh-huh.
And it tastes delicious. I put some lime in it. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I feel great. And my son, he also said to me, Mom, I'm just not really drinking anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way that I feel. We were saying earlier, I think alcohol consumption in the United States is down 54%. Something is going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I posted a couple weeks ago that I don't know if you saw it, but Jim Beam is stopping production in their Kentucky
Yes.
factory
Yes.
or distillery for the year for 2026. And then I know Jack
Yeah.
Daniels also let go of 600 people earlier last year. And so the numbers are there. And it's still a small percentage, but it's an opportunity to
Right.
grow revenue with a different formulation, kind of like you're doing with
With
the vegan options, right? I'm like, why not
right.
offer them?
And I'm seeing them, certainly at the events I go to. We have always a non-alcoholic version
Mm-hmm.
of an alcoholic drink, or I
Mm-hmm.
think of it as vice versa. Just always. And I'm very curious about who's taking what,
Mm-hmm.
just to
Yep.
understand. Now, I'm not making judgments
Right.
about people who do wine, and I'm not saying I will never have a glass of wine again, but I'm not going to in January. It just feels like a good time to reset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I eat a lot of vegetables as a matter of course. You give me beans and greens and grains for the rest of my life, and I'm really happy with that. That's food that I happen to love.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm just finding that I feel better. So I'm going to do it for this month. My plant-based is not just in January. It's been for 35 years
Mm-hmm.
that I've been eating this way, and knock on wood, by all those numbers that you go to the doctor to have checked are really good. So I'm going to keep doing it. Plus, I like the food, and I allow myself to have a small piece of dessert,
Mm-hmm.
when I want it,
Right.
because they're made, I feel like it's made with wholesome ingredients. I look at recipes today and I think, wow, 4 eggs or 5 eggs and a cup of heavy cream and 3 cups of white sugar. Who does that today, or why?
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary. By the same token, I am not a fan of the NSSs, the non-sugar sugars.
Right. Yeah. Because those have some side effects as well, as some of those
Yes.
gums do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think
absolutely. So
I remember, is it mono? What's that sugar? Oh, I don't remember. I remember getting cookies from them a long time ago, and I love them. But when you eat them over that sugar, it begins with an M. I think it's refined from. I don't remember.
monk fruit?
No, mm-mm.
No.
It'll come to me when
Still,
we're done talking. But yeah. So how as a person who goes to a lot of events, what what are you expecting as a person who eats plant-based, right? Meaning, like, and how often do you not have something to eat, are not provided something? What are you looking for?
From time to time, I do not feel provided for,
Mhm.
and I don't understand it in today's world. There are times that I know I'm going to a restaurant that doesn't have vegan options on the menu,
Mhm.
for example, but if I know I'm going, I will contact the restaurant and let them know ahead. I
Mhm.
think that's the right thing to do. I have been in situations where it's just a spontaneous situation, and I go in and I let the server know. For the most part, I am accommodated, even if there is nothing vegan on the menu. And by accommodated, I mean, not just a plate of pasta with some steamed vegetables. I
Mhm.
find that really insulting, or a salad, but something clever. I went to a restaurant in Philadelphia a couple of years ago. My kids were in town and they wanted to go there, and they were known, it was a brunch situation. They're known for their truffled scrambled eggs. And I didn't see anything vegan on the menu. They made me a scrambled tofu with some truffle oil. It was lovely, and greens on the plate. There are times that I'm stuck with a baked potato or a salad,
Mhm.
and I note it. And then I want to talk with the restaurant later,
Mhm.
not necessarily in the moment, but to offer some constructive information
Mhm. Yeah.
to them, because sometimes they just don't know.
Right.
They just don't know.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
know that the options are out there, like you said. Like, here are all. I mean, when you started 35 years ago, and when I started being gluten free 20 something years ago, I mean, the options that we have today are much different than the options that we had back then. Um,
right.
and my mom, even my brother was allergic to dairy or eggs when he was a baby. And so I'm like, there was no
Is that right?
internet, and he's 55. So, I mean, she's like, I just did it. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Now,
he outgrew that.
how do
But
you how do you address the idea of gluten free people who are eating gluten free who aren't really
celiac.
serious?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then they're eating all the white starches
Mm,
instead of whole grains and so on.
right.
I mean, I know your diet is varied. I think there has to be some education
Mhm.
around healthy gluten-free choices.
Oh, 100%. People think that eating gluten-free is healthy. I'm like, gluten-free, I mean, there's a Nature's Bar. I think that's the brand of it. But there's a gluten-free fig bar and there's a regular fig bar, right? Same.
What's
Nature's Basket is the brand, and we eat it here. My dad eats the non-gluten-free one, and I eat the gluten-free one. But it it's
what's
still
the difference?
I guess just the fig part, and it's made we eat the blueberry flavored one. So I guess it's the cake that's the difference part of it, but it is still full of sugar, right? I mean, it's a
Yeah,
cookie. So it's not
yeah,
like, and then when you're thinking gluten free, I mean, we make the King Arthur gluten free pancakes and waffles here in our house, and but that still has sugar. Both of those have sugar in in the mix.
right.
So it's not that it's necessarily healthier to eat gluten free, but it's healthier for somebody who gets sick from gluten. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think, one of the reasons that for the most part I don't use mixes, or
Mhm.
I mean there are a lot of people now who say they buy Betty Crocker
Mhm.
cake mixes, and instead of using the egg, there's a
Right.
way to just make a vegan cake.
Mm.
If I can add my own sweetener,
Mhm.
which is organic,
Right.
which is sustainable, which is chemical free, and use a little bit less, but still keep it as dessert, that would be my choice
Mhm.
for the most part. But we don't want people. We want people to be safe,
Mhm.
not overwhelmed. What is your position on oats? Because I get that question all the time, and what I say is, oats don't contain gluten on their own, but there's
Right.
cross-contamination.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It is correct. Yeah. So majority of the oats that are out there are processed on machinery that processed wheat. So you do have to look for certified gluten-free oats if you're true celiac, but some celiacs can't even eat oats in general. Um
Right.
don't necessarily I don't pull it
There's a protein
right,
that
something that doesn't
is
work right. Um, but yeah, so if you're serving oats, and it doesn't even matter if they're still cut oats, they need to be certified gluten-free, right?
right.
So, and Zigo, is a brand that, that is actually certified gluten-free, and actually, you would like this too. They are also they test for over 400 different chemicals on the wheat, on the oats, to make sure that they're chemical free as well from
Oh, I love
pesticides.
that.
Yeah. Um, I've got a bag downstairs, but that would require me leaving. But yeah, so they're, looking for Zigo brand or other ones that are certified gluten-free is important. And the oat milk, and looking at the oat milks, I'm like, there's a lot of them that have gums in them. I think Malk, MALK doesn't, but a lot of them have gums in them too. So,
Lots of gums.
mhm,
Yeah. Oatly came out with one
Oatly.
that's called Simple,
Okay.
Simple,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have any
Oh,
gums.
good.
And so, that's one that my son, for
Mhm.
example, really likes. When I'm doing a dessert and I need to have a substitute for a heavy, for a really rich cream, I
Mhm.
will use their full fat. But there are ways to take the leaner milks
Mhm.
or make your own.
Right. Mhm.
Nothing to it really, but time, uh, less expensive, and then you don't have gums in them.
Mhm.
Uh, and then just add some extra fat to them. I did an experiment with, I wanted to show
Mhm.
my students and followers that, people say, well, when you make your own nut milk or oat milk or, grain milk, it separates.
Mhm.
You have to shake it. So I poured some Oatly
Mhm.
into a glass bottle and let it sit. And that's, when the container says shake well, that's what you do. You shake well. There's a reason for it. But I I'm using I'm using fine chocolates that
Mhm.
are ethically made and are high percentage, because the higher the percentage, the lower the sugar. I'm
Mhm.
looking to see if there's lecithin and what other things in them. But for truly
I
gluten-free
love them.
people,
Yep. Yep.
I use this. I don't like their white chocolate.
Okay.
What most white chocolate is, Valrhona has a new white chocolate, and white chocolate has been the holy grail for the vegan community. It's delicious. It's made with almonds. So
Mhm.
that leaves out a large percentage of the population.
Right.
But then again, they're just, and we're really talking to the restaurateurs and the convention centers out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel anymore.
Yeah.
You can, for people who want absolutely sugar-free, gluten-free,
Yeah.
let's make some beautiful baked apples, poach some pears. What could be
Oh,
nicer?
I love
You
that
know,
idea of a poached pear. That's awesome. Yeah.
gorgeous,
Mhm.
gorgeous, with some beautiful, depending what's in season, get something red or red syrup on there, raspberries or cranberries. I prefer to
Mhm.
do seasonal eating, so I love cranberries. Oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous. And they can look fabulous if you could drizzle with a little bit of chocolate. You could do over some ice. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
lot that you can do with that.
Oh, that
And
sounds so good.
people forget about
Yeah.
this. It's
Mhm.
like, and it's not expensive and not especially labor intensive either.
Yeah. Well, and you showed something on
Yeah.
your Instagram feed that you did cranberries in the Vitamix, and I love the fact that Vitamix commented on what you did.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you made a juice just before the holidays. Um,
Yes, all I did was take, I washed my organic cranberries and I was like, well, let me just see what goes on here. Added water. I wanted to make cranberry. I like tart flavors. I really do. And I just made myself some fresh cranberry juice. It was fabulous. Maybe I added a little sweetener. I know I added lime
mhm.
to it, but it was so enjoyable.
Good. That's
It really
awesome.
was.
Okay. I have a couple of rapid fire questions that I'll ask you.
Okay.
What is one kitchen habit that you wish every kitchen venue practiced?
Oh, that's have you gotten till tomorrow? That's for sure. Um, I people wearing gloves, and I wear gloves when I am tossing or coating, touching my food. But I see that people aren't changing their gloves. They go and answer the phone and so on. I think there needs to be more awareness about serious hand washing and changing gloves.
Oh, that's huge. I love that because it is. I mean, you're touching food that people are, especially raw vegetables and stuff. That's people are going to eat those right
Yes,
away. Yeah. Um,
yes.
what's the most misunderstood part of vegan pastries?
Oh, that they're hard to make, that you need to refit your kitchen with ingredients particular to vegan pastries
Hmm.
instead of understanding that it is a traditional pastry kitchen pantry and that they're going to taste good for what they are. In fact, they're not.
Right.
I mean, we are both members of Les Dames d'Escoffier International, different chapters. And for example, we had our holiday party in December,
Hmm.
and I was specifically asked to bring my orange almond olive oil bunch cake
Oh.
because people have been tasting this cake and loving it.
Hmm.
And there was the traditional dairy dessert,
Hmm.
dairy egg dessert, and then there was these two cakes. And I got a call later from our member who organized the event saying the servers and the cooks at this venue were eating the crumbs of this cake. Truly. So spoken to the chef, and she just was saying she had no idea what plant-based was.
Wow.
She didn't understand it, but here she was eating the crumbs. So, there's a thing. It's still making dessert, and in many cases it's easier.
Hmm.
It's just you're going to make meringue from aquafaba. You don't have to worry about raw egg whites, salmonella,
Hmm.
or overbeating your egg whites. It's simple.
That's so true. And that meringue is so good. I mean,
Isn't it
yeah, it
wonderful?
really is. Okay. One ingredient you hate seeing wasted.
Oh, I don't like food waste at all. So I repurpose, I try to use every bit, really, root to tail of my vegetables. And if things are going a little south with my vegetables, I put them in the freezer and make stock.
Hmm.
When I have a cake or a cookie that is a little past its prime,
Hmm.
I never waste that. So I don't waste desserts. They go in the freezer. Cake or cookie crumbs become a pressed crust or
Oh.
a topping on a chocolate pudding. Super easy. Or, people do cake balls all the time with that. A
Hmm.
little bit of leftover ganache, a little bit of leftover frosting, make a ball, put it in your freezer.
Oh,
So I am absolutely in
I
love with
love
that. I have a
those
freezer.
ideas.
Yes, so easy. It's
Yeah.
really easy. And I just, there are people who are hungry, and I have the privilege of having beautiful food in my home and a pantry full of food. I don't want to waste anything.
No, I agree with you. Okay, two more questions. One question that event planners should always ask their hotel or convention center or catering partner, about what they can produce, plant-based? What's a good question to probe about that?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Well, I think that we can ask them about what they stock,
Mhm.
because most kitchens will have grains,
Mhm.
will have some dried beans. Talk about, when you serve the non-plant-based, or however when you serve your traditional salad
Mhm.
for your dinner or lunch, how about putting some chickpeas on the salad for protein?
Mhm.
Just give them a help on what they can do so that we are getting, I believe in protein at every meal. I'm not protein crazy. I think in this country we're a little nuts about it. I don't know anybody who is, well, let me not say that. There are people who are food insecure, but for the most of us, we're getting enough protein. But I want to make some actionable suggestions to the venue on how they can do the plant-based items for their event super easily with foods that they have already.
Okay. Awesome. And then the final question is, finish this sentence. Every meal should.
Every meal should be delicious, satisfying, and, in my opinion, have a lot of vegetables incorporated in the meal.
Okay.
Lots of flavor, super easy, and batch cook so that you can make yourself these meals.
Awesome. I love that. Okay. Now I am going to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. I've already put your website up here at the bottom.
Okay, thank
You're
you.
welcome. Uh, Go ahead.
Well, you can reach me through my
Mhm.
website, or at Fran Costigan, Fran at francostigan.com. Follow me on Instagram at Good Cakes Fran. On Facebook, I am vegan pastry chef
Oh, okay.
Fran
All right.
Costigan. And there are lots of recipes on my website, mostly sweets, as you would expect, some savory too, because I do happen to love savory food. I like food. I like to eat. And I like a cookie. I like, to me, a cookie, I like crunchy cookies. A little cookie after a meal, to me, is like the exclamation point.
Yeah.
Meal's done.
Meal is done.
Yeah, meal is
Well,
done.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for stepping in at the last minute
My pleasure.
when my guest had to go take care of family business, and I really, really appreciate it. It's good to see you, and I will see you in person in like 5 days, 4 days.
Great. Look
Yes.
forward to it. Thank you, Terry. Thank you very much. It was lovely to talk with you.
Likewise.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is the first episode of the year, and we're going to kick it off next week. I'm interviewing a chef from 12th Street Catering next Wednesday in Philly from
Oh,
their catering kitchen. So I'm excited to bring you them. Until then, stay safe and eat well. Thanks.